So hi guys, this is a really strange location for a video, I know. I'm in a hyperbaric oxygen chamber receiving hyperbaric oxygen therapy for my lower back, in the hope that it makes a difference and it helps the tumour to shrink slightly. I've had about 20 odd sessions now, something like that, and yeah, so I mean it's very difficult to know whether it's helping or not. But what I wanted to talk to you about while I'm in here is taking responsibility for ourselves. So often in life we decide, or we allow people around us to influence us and to I can't think of the right word. Basically, we go to them for help. If we're ill, we go to the doctors, and we go to the doctors and we say, I'm ill, this is the problem, you know, these are the symptoms, fix me. The problem is that they never really do fix you. All they do is treat the symptoms to the problem. They never really treat the actual problem. I'm in pain, give me painkillers is a classic example of that. And yet when we're in pain, our body is trying to tell us something. It's saying something's not right, please will you change what you're doing in some way, do something differently, because I don't like what it is that you're doing, something like that. And we ignore it. We just go, oh God, I'm in pain, I need some painkillers, without looking at the root cause, without looking at the underlying problem of you know what's causing that pain in the first place. Now it's really important that if we're going to change our lives and we're going to change ourselves, that we start looking inwards and we start looking at more to do with you know, with ourselves and our energy, our balance, and what our bodies are trying to tell us on a daily basis. Quite often the body can't tell the difference physically between hunger and thirst. So sometimes we feel hungry and really all we are is thirsty. The body's crying out for water. We give it a can of Coke or some other fizzy drink and hope that quenches the thirst, but the reality is it doesn't, because the body's asking for water. It's not very specific, because 20,000 years ago that's all there was only water, so you know it didn't need to specify, and the same with food. So for us to get better and for us to heal ourselves physically and mentally, emotionally, we really need to take responsibility. Nutrition, exercise, listening to our bodies, spending more time with ourselves, looking within. Who am I? What am I doing here? What's my purpose? They're all huge questions. I mean, massive questions to ask, and at some point we all ask them, but there's never really any answers, I suppose. Which is why I'm laying in a gigantic Tic Tac, being fed oxygen at my nose under pressure. I'll give you a quick look round. So that's the whether you can see that's the control panel there, and then down the bottom there's a little air conditioning unit, and you know there's the screen to the to the outside. I don't know whether you can see that or not. So I've got an hour in here, hugely expensive. You know, well, I say hugely expensive, you know, it is when it's an alternative therapy and you're paying for it yourself, and that's something else that as human beings we don't like to do. We don't like to spend money on ourselves. We'll spend money on our pets, we'll spend money on our kids, well, spend money on, excuse me, fags and booze and, you know, and feel good stuff to get us through the day. But when it comes to actually investing in ourselves, investing in our future, believing in ourselves enough to spend some money, it's a bit like doing a course. You know, if there's something that you really want to do, let's say you love to paint, or you'd like to paint, you loved as a child to paint, but, you know, and you think, oh, I wish I could do that. But a watercolour painting course locally might be £100 for, I don't know, maybe a few hours, maybe a session every week. I don't know. So we choose not to do it. We choose not to spend that money on ourselves. We go, oh no, I've got, you know, I've got bills and I can't afford to do this and I can't afford to do that. But we really need to change that. We really need to start looking and go, what would help me to be happy? You know, what's the harm in spending 100 quid on, you know, on a course that will give you some skills that then will open up your creativity and, you know, and help with your mental well-being? Where's the harm? If you add up how much you spend on coffee, and I say coffee particularly because I used to drink three coffees a day, let's say at £3.50 a day, whatever it was, every day. So we say that's £10 a day, that's £70 a week, that's £280 a month on coffee. And yet I can't afford to pay £60 twice a week for hyperbaric oxygen therapy. So things changed, things had to change. I bought a coffee machine, basically. I bought a little DeLonghi espresso coffee machine for 100 quid, half of what I would spend a month anyway, and some bags of coffee. And the money I saved, I've invested in my health, basically. You know, that's the upshot. And it's about, you see, years ago I would never have done that. I didn't love myself. I didn't care enough about myself to want to fix myself. I didn't value myself enough. I used to look in the mirror and I didn't even recognize who I was. I'd look and I'd go, I don't know you. I don't know that person staring back. That's not me. That person staring back in the mirror, I don't know that person. I don't like that person very much. And yet now, with all the changes I've made, had to make, I mean, you know, the thing is, I was diagnosed with a large tumour in the base of my spine, but the doctors couldn't operate. Well, initially they said they could operate, but it would put me in a wheelchair, 50% chance I'd die anyway on the operating table, and if I did survive, I would spend the rest of my life with no control of anything below the waist, effectively. I was self-employed with 2 young children, a big mortgage, a business to run. There's no way I could commit to that. I couldn't do it. So I took a long, hard look at myself, and they said, you've got no choice. They said, you have to have this operation, you have no choice. If somebody ever says that to you, tell them to piss off, because it's not true. You have a choice. You do. It may not be an easy choice. It may be a very, very difficult choice to make. I'm telling you, you know, embarking on a journey where you try and fix yourself physically is not, it's not the easy route. But it's the one I chose, and I had to really, really work hard on myself as a person. Really hard on myself as a person. But I'm getting there, you know, and I look in the mirror now, I look at the screen staring back at me on this video, and I think, you know what, you're not such a bad person. You're doing some good, you're trying to do some good, you're caring and considerate and compassionate and thoughtful, and never used to think that way. I never used to believe that I was, and I had to change. And this is the point, is we have to accept responsibility for ourselves, because nobody else can 100% accept responsibility for us. It's all on us. The doctors can't, your friends can't, your family can't. The only person that can take responsibility for you is you. And it's the same for me. You know, I do the best I can, and I've undergone so many different types of therapy, none of which have really worked, to be honest with you. Otherwise I wouldn't be here, would I, doing this? And this may not work, but the point is that I'm not going to stop trying. Right, so the reason that I'm doing all of this is because I have two children. They're in their 20s now, but they were young children when I was first diagnosed with my back. Children learn from what they see around them, their environment, their influence, particularly parents. So our children learn from us, and I wanted my children to grow up not ever stopping trying, I didn't want them to grow up accepting and going, oh well, that's my lot, I can't do anything to change it. I wanted them to be able to say, my dad never stopped trying. My dad never stopped trying to heal himself. He never stopped trying to be a better person. He never stopped trying to help other people. And you can do the same. You can do that. You can never stop trying to be someone who makes a difference, who can help other people, that can give to themselves as well. Don't stop trying to be a better person for yourself, so that you can look in the mirror and go, actually, I really like what I see. I really love that person staring back at me in the mirror. It seems impossible. Honestly, if you'd have asked me 5 years ago if I could have felt that way about the person looking back at me in the mirror, I would have said absolutely not. I hated him. I really did. I didn't relate to that person at all. It wasn't the person that I thought I was. So if you're really poorly and the doctors are giving you drugs and more drugs and more drugs and more drugs and more drugs to treat side effects of other drugs, effectively, a lot of the time, I'm not suggesting for 1 minute that you throw all the drugs away, that you stop taking them. I'm not saying that. If drugs are keeping you alive and they're then please you keep taking them. What I'm suggesting is that you take a long, hard look at why you have them underlying conditions. So there's two books I can recommend to you which may help shed some light on physical problems, disabilities, whatever, related to emotional problems and lack of imbalance. The first one is Louise Hay. Louise Hay, I believe, had cancer and due to childhood trauma, and she produced these books that basically linked physical symptoms to emotional problems. So look up Louise Hay. Ina Segal is the other lady that also produced a very, very similar book. Sorry, I just dropped the phone. It's actually quite hard to be in here, hold a phone up and not make it look like I have 50 chins and I'm 90 stone. So that's the reason I'm looking straight ahead and I'm not looking down at the phone. I could put the phone on my belly and look down at it, but then I get a great big fat face, and trust me, you do not want to see my great big fat face. This is bad enough, I know, but hey. So Ina Segal, I believe she's Russian, possibly, but anyway. But both Louise Hay and Ina Segal have books out that link emotional problems to physical symptoms. So it's well worth a look. You know, it may just click with you and you might go, oh, actually, do you know what? Yeah. Now, with these physical symptoms, and I truly believe that the tumour I have in the base of my spine is, I'm not saying it was caused by emotional trauma as a child. I think it was a physical injury, but I think that either one exacerbated the other, or vice versa, one way or the other. But I do genuinely believe that my emotional problems, traumas from the past are held physically in my body in the form of this tumour. So therefore, I believe that by working on my emotional problems, by working on my self-esteem and my personal issues and problems, and the way I feel about myself and everything that's happened to me, I can make a difference to the tumour growing in the base of my spine. Now, another lady that did something very similar was Brandon Bays. She wrote a book called The Journey, and that's really, again, if you're in a similar problem, it's well worth a look. So please accept some responsibility for the way your body is trying to communicate with you. It's screaming at you for help a lot of the time. Our bodies are, it's like they're begging for you to do something different, to make a change, to stop doing something that you're doing. That's what pain is. Pain is to say, like, something's going on here and it's not right. So have a long, hard look. Do some work on yourself. Get some help, get some therapy, IEMT, Integral Eye Movement Therapy, either from SomebodyElse'sAngel.com or .co.uk, either or another IEMT practitioner. You don't have to use those that work on our basis. The only difference is that they may charge more. We have like a subsidized pay it forward scheme, so somebody would already have paid for your therapy and then you pay for somebody else's, and that way it really seems to make a difference. So get some help. Until I had the IEMT, I was really struggling. Really emotionally struggling. Now, that was about a year and a half ago. And a lot has changed in a year and a half. If you'd have said to me I'd be making these videos and I'd be talking to you from a H-bot chamber, I would have said, well, no, because A, I'm not worth that. I'm not worth investing that money into, and B, I can't talk to people. I can't help people. I'm a mess. I'm a physical and emotional mess. How on earth can I possibly help anybody else? And yet here I am trying. And I think that's the important thing. You can always make a difference to somebody else. You can be somebody else's angel. You can. You just have to reach out and make some changes to yourself and the things you believe about yourself. I'm going to do another video, not now, but I'm going to do another video about the inner bully within. It's really important because we bully ourselves relentlessly. If anybody treated me the way I treat myself, with my thoughts and the way that I talk to myself, I don't know, it wouldn't be pretty, put it that way. And yet I allow myself to talk to myself that way. So I'm going to do another video coming up, the inner the bully within, the inner bully, and we'll look at that as well. So I'm going to leave it there because we're on about 20 minutes, and I promised myself after the very first video that I would stick to around 15-20 minutes. I'm going to read my book and enjoy being in here, taking some time for myself, to allow my body to heal, and I'll speak to you soon. So take care, guys. Be good to yourselves. Look after yourselves. Think about what you're eating. Think about what you're drinking, and have a good one. Okay, and we'll speak soon. Take care. Bye.